I tried beating Elden Ring on a bet, and here's my journey.
Lowly tarnished, plain as a lord, I command thee, kneel!
And here you come, to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord. I commend your spirit, but alas, none shall take the throne.
A man cannot kill a god.
I've never been into or played any Souls games before, so you can imagine the stalemate I was at when the two bets I was given by my friend was to either kill the Elden Beast, which is basically just finishing Elden Ring's story, or to take the second half of that bet and kill Melania, aka one of the hardest bosses in Elden Ring. If I completed either of these objectives within the 1 week time frame I was given, my friend would give me any game that I wanted on Steam. This journey gets pretty crazy along the way, and you'll also find out who I decide to kill near the end of my journey to fulfill this bet. Also, be sure to stick around till the end for future playthroughs of similar titles of From Software games with some of their earlier and more notable games. With all that out of the way, let us begin our journey. We started off day 1 by looking at all the different classes that there would be in Elden Ring, including this abomination. What the fuck is that? I eventually settled on the Samurai class because it just looked the coolest, and named her accordingly. After getting an exposition dump with some very cool art, I spawned in this weird chapel area, stole a dead man's finger, and made my way out of the church. Oh, what the hell? This game is so beautifully designed, and there's really nothing else left to say. And after walking across this scary bridge, we finally made it to this open area where we were jump scared by our very first boss. Okay, that's great. Yeah, really not a lot to commentate here. I just got my ass handed to me by the very first boss. Moving on. After getting violated by a horse and a weird lady in a bathrobe, oh, is this the pink hair lady? I made my way down to the tutorial cave. This cave basically just taught basic mechanics of the game, how to attack, dodge, block, etc. Would have been nice to show me this before you sent a boss at me. We made it to the end of the cave and I saw the giant piss mist wall. That usually means that there's a boss on the other side. And he looked like just a regular normal knight, so surely it would be easy to kill this guy. I died to him. Don't worry, we do not stay here long. I respawned, marched right back through the mist, activated my 2 brain cells, and killed him with ease. First Elden Ring boss dead, no sweat, moving right along. After going up the elevator and arriving in Limgrave, grabbing the first grace and getting called maidenless by a random bystander.
You are maidenless.
Bitch, what the I started to wander around the newly introduced land. This is the area that is supposedly the easiest area, but I use the word easy very loosely, because this abomination damn near gave me a heart attack the very first time I saw this thing. Who the fuck are you? Whoa! Oh my god. Yeah, dude, I'm not killing that thing. Holy shit. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to this guy later on. We arrived in this church called the Church of Ella. I also experimented with the graces for a bit and tried to alter the time a bit. I turned it to night and wanted to see what it looked like, and I was not surprised. And talked to this guy that looked like Santa Claus sitting down by the fire, who was actually a merchant. I didn't find any use out of him though. Maybe it's because I was in the sell menu. I didn't know where to go next, so I followed the graces trail and just went in the direction that it pointed into. And surely enough, we found our next grace. Oh, I think I see it. Way over in the distance over there. And the girl who appeared in the beginning cutscene comes back to greet me at the grace. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, boy.
She hands me a new item called the Spectral Steed, which allows me to summon a horse called Torrent, but for the sake of this playthrough, we'll call him Pain. After struggling with how to use this item for like 10 minutes straight, I took the steed back to the first original grace because I wanted to actually browse the merchant's options instead of just walking by him because I wanted to see what he sold. But after resting at the grace, this weird blue witch showed up. Who the hell are you? She called herself Rena, and after going on a rant about spirits or something. She handed me a spirit casting bell and dogs. Basically, I could summon these dogs at any time to help me fight bosses, enemies, etc. So I was very excited to get this item as it would be a massive help later on, but we won't be using them for now. Wanting to explore the map a bit more, I headed through this giant gate to see the landscape a bit more, kill a few enemies, and oh my god. Okay, do not worry, we do not get stuck in the sky for long. I went back through the gate, wanted the troll again, and led him to his demise. Oh my god. And it was here that I found out that the Graces respawn enemies. So yeah, he's back, and I had to kill him twice. Fuck you. Not wanting to deal with that guy again, I simply left that area and went exploring elsewhere. We will be coming back to this place very shortly. Now, before the playthrough started, my friend had told me about a really good starting weapon for the playstyle that I would be doing. It was a dagger of some sort, and it was dropped exclusively by an NPC encounter. He told me where it was on the map, and we made our way there. Upon arriving at the battle arena, a red glowing NPC that my friend had mentioned had finally spawned in. While mid-battle though, this orange samurai guy also showed up, and at first I thought it was going to be a 2v1 situation. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but no, he just wanted to kill this random NPC as much as I did. After eliminating this NPC, we received an item called the Reduvia Dagger, which was a bleed weapon, and at the time I didn't understand what bleed was in the game, but since it was a fancy new weapon, I wanted this fancy new weapon instead of the starter weapon that I started out with. Now, with our newly equipped weapon and slightly leveled up stats, it was time for our very first boss battle. For those of you who don't know, Elden Ring is filled with lots of bosses. 238 bosses, not even including the ones from the DLC. We are not fighting all of them for very fucking obvious reasons. We only had to kill the 13 main bosses, and the very first boss was this senile old man called Market the Fell Omen. He was located at the base of Stormvale Castle, so we swiftly made our way there and began the boss fight, joined by my friends who were watching me in a stream and were totally calm the entire time.
Welcome to him, bro. Don't be a pussy.
We started out this fight by summoning our wolves that we received from Rena earlier, and also this wizard guy named Roger. After a few hits, we managed to trigger a stagger. Oh, stagger. Light attack. And managed to get him to like a sliver of HP. Unfortunately for my summons, most of them were all slain in the first half of the battle.
It's on your wolf. Go. It's on your wolf.
I went in for an attack, but unfortunately, Market killed my one form of aggro, and the tide almost turned for the worst on me.
Don't get greedy. Chill. Get out of here. Literally 1 HP. Just smack him. Run up there and smack him.
Oh my god.
There you go!
So yeah, there goes the very first boss of the Elden Ring storyline. But the feeling of victory would not last long, as the realization of this only being the first boss quickly diminished it. There were still 12 more bosses to defeat, so we had to keep on moving. Next, I traversed Stormvale Castle to find this very next boss,
Godric the Golden.
Godric the Grafted was located near the top of Stormvale Castle, and after scaling it for a while, we made it to the entrance of the arena. I did this because I wanted to knock out 2 bosses in a day, and I obviously died. At this point it was late, so I decided that we get to Godric on day 2. I only had one goal in mind today, and that was to kill Godric the Grafted. This boss has shoved his axe into my asshole so many times. I'd show you the first 30 attempts, but they all have the same theme. Oh my god. Yep. Dead. Oh my god. I have literally been at this boss for almost 2 hours. Finally, I realized that we were approaching the 40 to 50 attempt mark. I legitimately thought that I was going to get stuck here, but I could not allow that. I had to dial in just for this one fight, and here's how that went. Drink that.
Truest of dragons, lend me thy strength.
Let's try and do this one more time. Oh, I'm so dead here. Oh my gosh. dodge, dodge. Oh. Jump. Holy shit. Oh, I'm dead. Dodge. Oh my god. No, run. No. Oh! Almost 50 attempts. Godric has been slain. 2 bosses under my belt, 11 to go. Our next location that we had to go to also held the next 2 bosses. That's right, not 1, 2. The location was called the Academy of Rhea Lucaria, and that place was located in a place called Lake Liurnia. So we set off on our journey, got jump scared by this weird ass frog creature in the process.
Everything.
Oh, hello, gremlins. And finally made it to the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. This place was an academy slash school full of magic users, so I'm sure that elitist Elden Ring players hate this place the most. Once I got into the building, I literally got chased by 10 enemies in a circle for 5 minutes straight, and it resulted in nothing. Oh, okay, there's the room, I didn't see it. I respawned, and I finally found the next Grace. Hey, chill out boys, chill out, this is not fair, this is not fair. Okay, how was that fair? Once the Grace was claimed, I could easily explore this next part of the map more safely now. We walked around in this graveyard for a bit, got attacked by some of the creatures. Whoa! Okay, I'm getting... Okay, I just got chomped. Okay, can this wolf piss off? Oh, it's not even a wolf. Oh, it is a wolf. It's a very malnourished wolf. And spent a very long time trying to find this new armor set that my friend was telling me about, the Carrion Knight armor set. After an actual solid 25 minutes of searching, we found the armor set. With our new armor set acquired, we got into this elevator and descended down into the next part of the map, and grabbed the next Grace. My friend also told me about some interesting information about a certain part in the next section of this map.
Okay, the next part, you're gonna see a chest. Do not get the chest. You will die.
Is it a mimic?
No, it's not a mimic. You're just gonna get clapped by everybody else around it. It's not worth it.
I need to see this. I need to see this.
Run. It's. Yeah, you can get that. Yeah, you can go get
You
that.
see that chest?
Do not get the chest. Okay,
Open
get
it.
that.
Oh, a
Open it.
scroll.
Open
You
it.
should open that chest.
Do not get the chest.
Open it.
I am very nervous as well. You don't...
Do it.
Not this one. This one's fine.
Okay.
If you have balls, you open the chest.
Do not get.
I highly doubt they'd jump me for a
Okay.
cookbook.
Lock in.
Right up your ass cheek, dude. Okay.
Oh,
He's
Oh, he's
alive.
up.
He's
He's
alive.
alive.
Oh, now
you
you
like
did.
that?
Jesus.
Did he like that?
I think he did, because he liked it so much he fainted and never woke up again.
No.
He got back up for more. He got back up for.
So after that entire ordeal, I made my way up those stairs, where I encountered the third boss of the Elden Ring storyline, the Red Wolf of Radagon. This boss is required to be slain in order for the next boss that follows it, but we unfortunately did not beat it on the first go. Okay, right up your ass. Dude, these guys also look like...
Do not.
Okay, time to actually get this next boss done. I summoned my jellyfish that I named Calvin to aid us in the fight. The boss for the most part was relatively easy. Sure, he hits hard at certain times, but using Calvin as a noble sacrifice, I was able to proc a lucky bleed attack on the overgrown puppy and put him down.
Oh, he's dead.
Wow, that's it. This is where I realized the potential that Bleed had in this game. After leveling up some skills, we made our way into the courtyard area, slaughtered some crabs, got harassed by this giant Iron Maiden machine. Okay. What is that? What is that? Hello? We obtained another golden seed, got cornered and almost died, and finally crossed the courtyard and made our way out onto the next boss. But not before role-playing Indiana Jones for a bit. Oh! Safely passing the giant boulder, we finally arrived in the next room, where we had a surprise encounter by an NPC invader. But I mean, that's just some dude in like some iron armor, right? I just killed a giant cosmic wolf. There's no way that he can kill me. Okay, after that sad sack of a boss fight, I interacted with the Grace to use the newly found golden seed that I just found to allocate an additional charge to my flask, and finally equipping the Carrion Knight armor that I spent almost 30 minutes finding before. All suited up and ready to go with our new shiny armor set, we walked back to the knight that we had died to earlier. I knew you had to kill him, but I didn't want to go through that trouble, but he followed me into the elevator when I tried walking by him. Whoa, what the? He's coming on with me! After I called back down the elevator, this happened. Oh, he's not there anymore. That's so ominous.
Run by him into the room.
Oh, he's just straight up gone.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, Carrion Knight shield. Was that him?
Oh, he died.
How did...
Yeah, you cheesed him somehow.
Okay, that's cool. I literally have no explanation for this kill, but I cheesed him somehow, and I'm just gonna leave it there, and we're moving on. Now that we're at the top, we could finally make our way into the 4th boss fight. For sure. Oh my god, dude, it's where Oogway gave Poe the dragon scroll.
Okay.
That literally has the scariest cutscene in the entire game so far. But there she was, the 4th boss, finally seen in the flesh, Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Is this Renala?
I'll soon birth thee anew, a sweeting, fresh and pure.
Oh my god. What the hell? Okay, yep, we're straight into the boss fight. Okay, cool. Her first phase begins with her floating in the air, and 3 of her weird, creepy, crawly baby man-child monster things that will be glowing yellow. Find and hit all 3 of these monster children sequentially to lower Renala's protection bubble and deal out your damage. Okay, I did get domed in the head by a chandelier the first time and got instantly killed.
Oh, you're dead.
Did a chandelier just follow me and kill me? So... Attempt 2. After doing this 2 or 3 times, you send her into her second phase, where the real fight begins.
A veil over.
That's so cool. She's a magic user. Elden Ring's Reddit's gonna eat your ass! After dealing 99% of her health, she kills me in the second phase. That was a bad time to drink a pot. Oh my god, I hate that it makes you do a walk of shame every time. Attempt number 3, and... Ow! Ow! Dude, please lock onto the enemy that I want you to kill. No! Nice. Okay, I forgot about the explosion. Dude, that mock hit her. Thank you. Oh, shut up. Shut up.
No.
Okay, I should not have done that. Okay.
To be honest.
Okay. Oh.
Mr. Heed.
Alright, I'm done. We're gonna leave this boss for day 3. Realizing that we might be underleveled for this fight, I went elsewhere to do some preparation work first. I came to the conclusion of finding this giant troll that had sold somber smithing stones to upgrade my Reduvia. If you don't know what these are, they basically just make your weapons do more damage. And I went out and grabbed a few more talismans as well, because at this point I literally had not used any. The very first talisman that I got was something called the Winged Sword Insignia, which would be a massive help later on. I also got the Blue Dancer Charm, which I don't remember why I even got it. It doesn't even help me in the slightest, just read the description of this item. I additionally also got my very first incantation, Flame Grant Me Strength. This buff is such an amazing buff. It's probably one of my favorites in the game. It buffs fire-based weapons, I think, and also buffs physical damage by a lot. And off camera, I got a stamina talisman called the Green Turtle Talisman, which basically just boosts my stamina recovery, and another talisman which did buff my attributes by quite a bit, but it made me take more damage, called the Radagon Sword Seal. I also needed some money to upgrade my Reduvia since I died and lost all of them to Renala the previous day. So I decided to look up some quick ways to earn runes, and I found this farm. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm googling everything and not finding my own way to do things, 1, I'm pressed for time. 2, this game is ginormous, and I am not cycling through the college textbook that is Elden Ring's wiki page just to find one talisman that I need. That aside, this farm you basically just repeatedly smack this big ass dragon on the east side of the map until it's almost dead, proc a bleed to kill it, run back to the nearest grace, and reset its spawn before it fully dies. But the guide that I was watching didn't tell me about it. So the dragon's dead forever now. But now, with all these buffs and new talisman, surely we had a chance. Oh, fuck! Then I suddenly remembered about a tip that my friend told me on how to beat Renala, and it was to keep up the aggression. You see, Renala takes time to cast her spells, and if you hit her before she can cast them, you can stagger her out of her spells. So, I finally had a new plan to kill her. Okay. Oh, finally, she's been slain. 4 bosses down, 7 more to go. The rest of the day we did some map exploration to find the next boss that we needed to kill. He was in a place called the Capital, or the Lanedale Capital if you want to be official about it. I had to find 2 halves of a certain medallion, which I do not have the footage for because I thought I was recording. To activate a hidden secret elevator that takes you up to said capital. After finding these pieces and activating the elevator called the Grand Lift of Dectus, I arrived in the capital, but everything hit like a truck. I found some graces near the entrance of the capital, and my nemesis from the beginning returned, and this time there were 2. Well, we were safe since I found the next grace and a few golden seeds, but I was so unbelievably underleveled, I decided it's best that we do some other important work first, and some of you might know what that is. We started the questline to unlock a secret area that would be very helpful to us later on. There are 2 options to start this quest. The online version was to invade and kill 4 or 5 people, or the offline version, which was more tedious, but you got to explore more of the map. And I'm already playing on the offline version, and I wanted to see more of the map, and this was also an excuse to gather some more coins to level up. So, I obviously chose the offline version. Basically, the end goal of this questline was to soak a cloth in a dead lady's blood. We got to the point in the quest where we had to kill this invader at a church to soak the cloth in maiden blood. There are some earlier steps in this quest leading up to this part, but again, I do not have the footage for this because my dumbass forgot to record. You can just look up the questline on YouTube if you want. So we approached the invader to kill him, and we died.
Yeah.
He's hitting the gritty on me! And after like 15 more attempts of dying to this guy, I found a secret about this invader that would make him very easy to beat. So I wanted to see if it would work. Because in a game like Elden Ring, I thought the company would put as much parameters in place to prevent stuff like this from happening, but I just threw him off the cliff. So much for being an open world game. After soaking the cloth, we unlocked the secretive place that I was talking about earlier. The Mohgwyn Palace. This palace would be crucial later on as it holds some very important things that we would need to do. But before we left this place, we killed a new NPC called the Nameless White Mask. But again, I don't have the footage for this because I wasn't recording. But one more thing to complete this day was obtaining another very useful talisman that would help us level up very quickly later on. And that talisman was in this very obscure cave that was located in a giant chasm in Caelid. This cave has decimated my ass. This cave is, in my opinion, the worst cave in the entire game because the entire cave is covered in scarlet rot because a funny red-haired lady a while ago decided to kamikaze the entirety of Caelid in scarlet rot just to win a battle against Radahn. More on him later. The footage you're seeing now is post-game footage because there's no possible way for me to just tell you with words alone. For those of you who don't know, Scarlet Rot is an extremely annoying debuff that builds up over time. Once that bar is full, it will immediately start eating away at your health bar, or rotting away. The reason it's annoying is because you need to use your flask to keep yourself alive, but you also need flasks to heal yourself when you get to the end of the cave for the boss encounter, in case you do get hit, or in my case, will get hit. That's why this cave sucks, and I wish to never do it again. We did eventually make it to the end and battle not 1, but 2 of the bosses at the same time. I summoned my wolves to help me with this battle, and after a long treacherous battle, we received our prize, the Golden Scarab. Oh my god. This talisman will be a massive help later on at the Mohgwyn Palace, and you'll probably guess what it is already by reading the description. But this last endeavor concludes the ending of day 3. To recap, we killed Renala, got some fancy talismans, and unlocked a very secretive place that would be very helpful to us later on in the series. After using day 3 to slow down for a bit, it's time to pick it back up again, because this time we're going into the capital. For starters, I got a few more items to prepare for this next boss. Again, I apologize because I don't have the footage for this because I forgot to record. As for the items, I obtained 2 new items. A new weapon called the Nagakiba, and another new incantation called Blood Flame. You can probably see where this is going. Basically, Nagakiba is a long sword that do big damage, and Blood Flame makes the katana proc bleed. After obtaining these items and leveling the Nagakiba a little bit, I made my way around the capital. You see, getting into the capital is not so straightforward. The main entrance is blocked, so you can't enter head on, so you need to wrap around the entire wall, and there's this entrance on the side. But there's a cute little boss that guards the entrance of the city, who looks a lot like. So we gathered all our strength to finally kill this dumbass knight in golden armor. and killed him we did. For the most part, this fight was just more annoying if anything. I don't really understand the purpose of this guy being here. I guess it's more of a stat check to see if you're even ready for this fight to get into the capital so you can progress the story. After he was slain, we finally gained access to the capital, which was a very cool location, but this is just a start for the capital. We will be returning to this place as it plays a massive role in the story later on. After arriving in the capital, our very first priority was to find the very next boss in the storyline. Now, I'd show you the footage, but yeah, honestly, it was a pretty boring walk regardless. It was basically just a solid 10 minutes of running to the boss room. Finally, we reached the boss room, and now, ladies and gentlemen, meet the 5th boss in the Elden Ring storyline, Godfrey, the First Elden Lord. Wait, like one of the final bosses in this playthrough? No! This is like his spectral form, or golden shade if you want to be official about it. Godfrey does come back later on, and the fight is a lot more intense. He has some pretty cool attacks and animations to go along with it, but when I thought Godfrey was going to be an extremely difficult boss, that is a brutal lie. Yeah, sure, he killed me quite a few times, but after a few deaths, I quickly came to realize that Spectral Godfrey has the same attack cycles every single fight. No second phase, no nothing. This is what his attack cycles consist of. The fight usually starts with him doing his axe jump attack, which is pretty easy to dodge. Then I'm usually able to get 1 to 2 attacks in before he charges me, stomps the ground, swings his axe a few times, boom. But even after noticing this, we still died. At this point in the fight, I had died an unnecessary amount of times. I decided to back away for a bit to upgrade my Reduvia first. We first went to Mogwin Palace, and this is where unlocking this location comes into play. It's essentially a ruin farm where you shoot an arrow at a bird, you run away and the bird tries to chase you and it falls into the chasm, it dies, and you receive a bunch of coins. You need runes to level up your character's attributes, and I had obviously just had all mine stolen from Godfrey. After we received our funds, I needed to grab some more items to upgrade my Reduvia, so I went on a mini side quest. I headed back over to Limgrave because there was a secret chest that contained another new weapon. It's farting on me. It was actually a trap chest that teleports me to another location. This mist teleported me into the Celia Crystal Cave Tunnel, which was probably my favorite looking cave in the game. I then exited the cave, grabbed its grace, and turns out we ended up in Caelid. I needed to find the rotten swamp called the Aeonia swamp to find our next grace, so that's what we did. We arrived at the swamp, grabbed the grace, and made our way over to our next location, which held the smithing stone that we needed. I headed up the banks of the swamp and entered the ravine, which held these weird ball-like monsters that looked like the cactus monsters from Mario, and encountered the mini-boss at the end of the ravine that was guarding the smithing stone I needed. So surely I killed him, right? Nope, I ran up to the dung beetle, grabbed the stone, and ran away like a puss. After obtaining the stone, we returned to the round table hall to greet our old smithing friend and upgraded the Reduvia, and finally returned to the capital to fight Godfrey once again. And this time, after learning from its attack patterns yet again, we finally killed him. Not too bad of a boss fight. Godfrey Golden Shade is dead. 5 down, 11 more bosses to go. Right after Godfrey's demise, I grabbed the grace in the middle of the room and began heading to my next location, which wasn't far off from the Godfrey boss room. I headed up this big ass staircase, approaching the boss gate, and summoned a warrior to help me fight, and surprisingly, Melina showed up. I headed through the mist, and this by far is my favorite cutscene in the entire game.
The twin prodigies, Mikola and Melania.
Not this part, not this part, not...
General Radahn. Praetor Rykard. Luna Princess Rani. Willful traitors. All. Pillagers emboldened by the flame of Amoverse. Have it writ upon thy meager grave. Felled by King Morgoth, last of all kings.
Yep, that's right, we're heading into another boss fight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the very next boss, Morgoth the Omen King. And you might think that Morgoth looks very similar to the very first boss that we fought, and you'd be right. Apparently, Margit is a projection / illusion of Morgoth. How and why? I don't know. We fought him the first time, and unfortunately, we did die. What the hell? Second time, however, though we did struggle quite a bit, we managed to persevere, and we even got to use our Nagakiba setup for a little bit. That's right, I spent that much time and I didn't even use the Nagakiba setup in the first boss fight of this day at all. For the most part, Morgott is a pretty easy boss, not too difficult, though I did have 2 summons on me. A lot of his attacks are pretty predictable. The only bad thing is that I got stabbed by his long ass sword. Finally killing Morgott the Omen King, while also dying in the process too. I guess we kind of just traded deaths. Morgott down, 6 bosses killed, 5 more to go. So at this point, after defeating Morgott, a new portion of the map has been unlocked. The Snowy Mountaintop of the Giants, which also conveniently held the next boss of the story. So, after making our way over there, because I don't have the footage, just to take a pause here for a minute, I think every time I finished recording a boss fight, I just stopped the recording and just forgot to re-record, so I apologize again for that. Basically, all you need to know is that I essentially played Death Stranding 3 getting to the next location. Finally gaining access to the Snowy Mountaintops, I arrived at my first place of interest, which was another Church of America, I believe it's called, where another invader will spawn at the entrance of the church, called Bloody Finger Okina. We had to kill this guy because he drops a weapon that would be very useful for us until the end of the game. And that weapon is called the Rivers of Blood, the final puzzle piece to my build that I will be going for. Now, if you take a look at the sword, you might think that it isn't that strong, and I'd say, for now. But this weapon will prove to be very, very useful in the coming days. And to recap day 4, I beat 2 bosses, Godfrey Golden Shade and Morgott, and also obtained my key puzzle piece to my build, the Rivers of Blood. Now, again, here's where the game starts to get even more intense and interesting. Every day from here on out only gets more and more insane. The 5th day was probably my most miserable experience of Elden Ring. In all the past days I've played, this was probably the worst one. And it's because of one boss, well, 2 bosses. First off and foremost, we had a boss that we would have to kill today, and that was the Fire Giant. I don't want to go on a rant about this boss because I did not like fighting him. For starters, most of the fight I literally could not see what was going on. Maybe this was just a me issue, it most definitely is, but usually when I'm fighting a boss, I like to be able to, you know, see the boss and what he's about to do so I can prepare and dodge accordingly. Half the time in this boss fight, I can't even see what attack he's about to do because I'm constantly at his feet. I hit him twice, he rolls away. I run towards him, he rolls away. I press dodge to avoid his attacks and he somehow still hits me. So I'm gonna stop beating around the bush. I cheese this boss. Don't worry, this is the one and only boss that I cheese. Literally because I could not be bothered to put up with this fight. Rant over. Back to the story. We had to take care of the Fire Giant because he guards the giant flame cauldron that progresses us to the next part of the story. Melon greets us at the top of the forge, and after going on a rant about how important the Earth Tree is and tells us how grateful she is for us bringing her here,
Thank you for guiding me here.
she sets herself on fire and burns the Earth Tree. Cool. After waking up because we got knocked out for some reason, we wake up in this new floating island location called Crumbling Far Missoula. This is the next important location on our journey, which again holds 2 special bosses that we will need to defeat, and luckily for me, both of these bosses will be a pain in my ass. I did warp away from this area before exploring it because I wanted to level up my Rivers of Blood to +10 first with Somber Smithing Stones because it was currently very low, so that's what we did. After that, I came back to the new island location, and after a while of searching, we finally made it to the location of the very next boss that we would need to fight, the Godskin Duo. This boss is the worst boss in the game so far. Forget Fire Giant, this guy's worse. Not only are both these guys ugly as fuck, at first I thought these 2 dumplings would be easy to take down, but it became pretty clear that yeah, we were gonna have a hard time beating this boss.
That one's low.
Oh my
Boy,
gosh, give me a back me up. Why? So, while looking up tutorials on how to actually prepare for this boss, I found another video on how to cheese the boss. Not really. I know I said I wouldn't cheese the boss, but this isn't really a cheese. but I wanted to try it anyways. It involved using an item called a sleeping pot, which is crafted from items called cracked pots, which are replenishable upon use, and a flower called the Trina's Lily, which was not replenishable on the map. So here I went, going on a whole side quest to collect all the lilies that I could find to craft all the sleeping pots in the world. 12 sleeping pots in hand, I marched back up to the boss room and died again. Okay, so at this point, two things were clear. One, I suck at these video games, and two, we would be running out of sleeping pots soon because, if you recall, Trina's lilies are not replenishable. Or so I thought. You see, there actually is a way to obtain these flowers, and it's through a much more tedious way. First of all though, I only had most of the snowy mountaintops unlocked, because there was a hidden section of the map that I had yet to unlock, and this part of the map held these jellyfish mobs that we can kill, and they have a chance of dropping Trina's lilies. So, how do we unlock this part of the map? Well, first, we need to obtain 2 halves of a new medallion called the Hallowed Tree Medallion. I had already obtained the right half of the medallion, as I did a few side quests earlier off camera, and received it from this old guy in Lake Liurnia. And where's the other half of this medallion, you may ask? Locked behind the world's stupidest boss imaginable, Commander fucking Nile. I take back all words I said about the Godskin Okay, well, actually no, both of these bosses are stupid. I don't think there's been one single person who's played this part of the game, fought Commander Nile, and said to themselves, I'm really happy with the choices I make in life. He's a stupid boss, and if you like him, no you don't. Believe me, I tried for hours to kill this boss, and I wasn't about to lose my entire almost week-long run because of a stupid boss that summons way more knights than needs to fight me, and uses an area of effect attack that takes up the entire arena. So, I peeked into the corners of the internet and found a bug that would lead me to the best time saver in the game because I hate this boss and everything that he stands for. And yes, again, I cheesed this fucking boss. And before you say, I think I can make an exception for myself that if I've spent hours on a boss, I can find alternative ways to beat the boss instead, rather than just going back and forth at this boss with it leading nowhere. I'm going to explain how it works here, but if you don't want to know, you can skip to the time on screen here. Basically, the way it works is that there is a tower on the side of the arena with a small hole in the wall. You essentially just lob bleeding arrows through the small hole and it will hit Commander Nile in the face. Do it enough times and you can kill him. Or, if you're like me and you didn't bring enough arrows to this fight, get him low enough, walk back over to the mist wall so that you can finish him off yourself. There we go. Second half of the Hallowed Tree Medallion obtained. We're moving on. After unlocking this new section of the map, I found the location that people were talking about to farm the lilies that I needed to craft sleeping pots for the Godskin duo. And I'm not the only person that does this, okay? There are a lot of people in that comment section agreeing that the Godskin duo boss fight is stupid, and they were also looking for sleeping pots to kill this boss. However, I only realized after reaching here that the jellyfish have an 8% chance of dropping it. Luckily, there were some Trina's lilies near the location of the jellyfish, at least like 8 or 9 of them, and so I was able to make a fair amount of sleeping pots. I did manage to get a few Trina's lilies from the jellyfish, like maybe 1 every 10 minutes, so I took what I had and went back to the Godskin duo arena, and I died again and used up all of them. At this point, it is a fucking skill issue on my part, and this is getting serious. At this rate, we still had 5 more bosses to kill, and we were on day 5 of 7. There was no way we would be able to get to all of them if this is what we were struggling with. But there's one more weapon in this game that could help me, and it's kind of a saving grace, if you will. I journeyed over to Caelid and entered this little castle area with some very weird looking festival items. I went up to this jester guy, and he told me about the festival of Radon. And most of you guys watching probably saw this coming. We have to fight Radon. You'll probably see why in a sec. So we warped onto the battlefield and the fight commenced. This was probably my favorite battle in the entire game. Being able to summon all these warriors in their spectral form and then just running around this big arena on your horse makes me feel like a general leading a charge to kill an impossibly huge threat.
Champions, prepare for battle! Defeat the general, find glory, a celebration of war, the Radon Festival!
Why are you coming after me? Is there a horse underneath him? Oh, huge damage, huge damage. Okay, I got to, okay, whoa. Where's bro? Oh, what the heck?
Oh, did he do the comet?
Yes, he did the meteorite attack. Oh, that's the attack that you hate.
And chicken cooking?
Oh! Oh my god. Whew. We did struggle a tiny bit near the end of the fight, literally almost dying to Radon, but it was all good because he was finally dead. After his defeat, a red marker appeared on the map. I headed on over there and we entered Nokron Eternal City. Are you serious? This newest section of the map was created by a meteor crashing into the land, now that Radon was dead because he controlled the stars or something. I didn't know that Radon was into astrology. After entering Nokron City, I encountered this huge ruined area, which had this weird little metal blob in the middle, and oh wait, it's just a duplicate version of me. I died to him once. What? Or him. I technically died to myself. I don't know if that makes me bad or good at the game. After a very effortless fight, we managed to kill my clone. After smiting him down, we traveled down this bridge, parkour across these buildings, almost got killed by these enemies here, and finally made it to our destination, and got our weapon.
Weak though.
The Mimic Tier. There it is. Okay. A lot of you guys might hate me for this, but I am desperate. I know this item is considered to be not very approved by the Souls community because it's essentially just a duplicate version of yourself running around taking aggro for yourself, and it kind of takes the point away from being a Souls game. But I think part of the reason that Elden Ring is so good is because things like this exist, and if people want to use it, I think they should be able to use it. It's not that big of a deal. Anyways, with that out of the way, let us continue. Mimic Tier in hand, we went straight to leveling up to max level. I basically just went on a huge side quest, grabbing these items called Ghost Glove Wards. These things essentially level up your spirits, or in my case, the Mimic Tier. This side quest took almost 2 hours running around the map, just grabbing all of these from level 1 to 10. I also had to kill another boss called Royal Ghost Loretta, who was necessary to progress this next part of the quest, I think. You see, most of the Ghost Glove Wards are readily available, but some of them are locked behind certain quests, I think. So, killing the giant spectral horse will allow me to access Ronnie's tower and also let me start her quest. I had to first talk to her, and then I would talk to all these spirits around the tower, which led me down to Nokron City to find an item called the Finger Slayer Blade, and acquired the final Ghost Glove Ward, and gives me access to Rena's Rise. I think there's a few steps I'm missing here, but that's basically the gist of it. But Rena's tower was glitched for some reason. It would not let me in for whatever reason. I spent almost an hour trying to figure out why it was. I looked online, some people said that this giant ice dragon was the reason. I tried killing him and he flew away. I thought it had something to do with some of the NPCs that I didn't talk to, so I searched Rena's tower for quite a bit to see if there were any other NPCs. And then, after spending almost 30 minutes figuring out why it was broken, it turns out that I had to reset at another grace to reset this mission because it was glitched for some reason. That's the reason. I went back, Ronnie was gone, I rested at the grace, I went into Rena's tower, which finally allowed me to teleport into the next section of the map, and also allowed me to grab the last remaining pieces of Ghost Glove Wards. Ghost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the Great One. And it upgraded my Mimic Tier to level 10. Plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5. Oh, we're gonna have to farm a lot of money. After getting the funds for the upgrade, we finally leveled our Mimic Tier to level 10. Surely, after all that prep work, we can finally beat the Godskin duo. Oh my gosh. We are actually just devolving in progression here. I did not just spend almost 2.5 hours grabbing Trina's lilies to craft useless sleeping pods that I didn't even find useful, and a mimic tier to help me fight this boss, and just to lose again. We went right back into the fight, and remember the jellyfish that we named Calvin earlier? Well, he's finally out of commission. I'm finally introducing Calvin 2.0. Great name, I know. And after hours of grinding for this item, I would not let it go to waste. So, the fight began. Sure, we took a bit of damage, and Calvin 2.0 did die near the beginning of the fight despite being level 10, but Calvin 2.0's death was traded for the first phase of the Chunky God. 1 down, 1 more to go. I danced around the Skinny God for a bit. He did this weird stretching attack, but it doesn't matter, we defeated him with ease. But then, the first Chunky God that we killed came back, and it was time for round 2. We did deal quite a bit of damage to him, as he did to us.
Don't get greedy.
Oh, no. Oh my god. Then he got into his big ass Snorlax form and just started rolling around like a giant wheel. We hopped on top of this pillar and we used this time during his rolling attack to regroup and recover our buffs, stats, and to wait out his roly-poly attack. But I needed to kill him here and now because the other Skinny God would be respawning any moment now, and I was not looking forward to handling 2 bosses at once, and kill them we did. It's all come down to this. 1 god left, and surely I could not choke this. And after casting Flame Grant Me Strength and just letting it go to waste like my friend was telling me,
You're stalling. You're stalling. You're letting your buff run away, go away, bro.
oh my gosh. And I was panicking by the end of this fight because I'd been at this boss fight for such a long time. With 1 lucky bleed proc, we finally managed to smite down the Godskin duo.
Yay!
Holy shit.
God, the amount of fucking time that like, don't get greedy.
I never want to fight you guys again. Goodbye. 8 bosses down, 3 more to go. After that defeat, I went to the Grace to indulge in the Godskin duo's spoils, leveling a bunch of more skills because we would 100% need these to help us later on. Wait, did I?
Oh shoot, I left.
What?
I killed it with the wrong talisman, but I got more gold from him.
Bro, why the f—
Now, you might think that we're finally done with the giant floaty fortress area, but nope, we're only halfway there. There is a second part. There is another boss hiding within the depths of this area, and let's just say, he's not the friendliest of bosses and definitely considered one of the hardest bosses in the game. I was nervous, but the path ahead is quite dangerous, so let's get a move on. After traversing this map for a bit and almost getting my ass kicked by these stupid ass birds that won't leave me alone. Oh my god, dude, how many birds? And running past this giant dragon. No. We approached this tower, got on the elevator, and it took us up to this giant staircase that led us to the entrance of the boss. And guess who is back? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Oh, I fought one of you before. The fucking tree sentinels! These things have managed to follow me all the way up to the giant floating fortress. How the fuck? In case you're wondering, no, we never actually do kill him. He stays there, but he does kill me quite a few times though.
And get clapped.
Okay. Anyways, it was time for the next boss. This boss crushes dreams. A literal god among men, holding a ruin of destined death itself. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Malekith the Black Blade. One of the hardest and worst bosses in the game. I approached him shitting my pants, and we were not able to do much during the first few tries. Already, I got destroyed. Oh, we are tearing his ass up. We are tearing his ass up. I forgot about that move. But after a bit, we finally managed to get him into his second phase. We got it for second phase.
Alright.
I haven't seen this cutscene yet, so.
You've never seen this?
No.
Oh, you're gonna like this one. This is.
Is he a human? Is he a human or like an ogre?
No. He's like a. I don't know.
Oh, I saw this on TikTok. Become my blade once more.
Wolf?
Oh, so he's like the big bad wolf. Whoa,
Yeah,
what
like
the fuck?
Because he's the keeper of death.
I mean, his blade isn't that big. It's just like the one that he was using before. It should be fine for it, cause like it doesn't. I don't think it goes. Yeah, look, it's just a tiny ass blade. I stand corrected. This guy's second phase is absolutely nuts. It is attacks after attacks after attacks. No slowing down. You need to constantly be on your feet for this boss. Okay. Okay, wow, 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 wow.
Hey, you dodged all that shit though.
Okay, I didn't dodge this.
And not that one. Not this one.
Alright, please. Oh shoot, missed time. After a few attempts, I realized that we were approaching the endgame soon. After Malekith is where we reach the final stretch. So, I decided to back away from Malekith for a bit and do some last minute preparations before we approach the final endgame. But this day is getting quite long, so I decided to save my endgame preparations for the next day. To recap today, we obtained the Mimic tier, maxed out the Mimic tier, and killed the Godskin duo, and also wasted 2 hours trying to get sleeping pots when I could just easily got the Mimic tier instead. Oh yeah, and we also killed Radon. So, we're finally approaching the final stretch of the Elden Ring storyline, with only 4 bosses left and 1 day to go. We've got a lot to go over today, more than all the previous days. If you recall what I said earlier about doing last minute endgame preparations, we needed to get a few talismans and upgrades to our stats to be ready for the final bosses. These talismans were all recommended by my friend, by the way. The very first thing I did was starting the Millicent questline located in Caelid to obtain a very good talisman for my particular build. I'm not going to show this questline, it was basically almost 2 hours of walking back and forth between locations and just exhausting dialogue over and over again. It was pretty boring. I'd say one of the bad things about Elden Ring is that its quest design absolutely sucks. This game would do good with like a quest log or something like that, where you can actually get some sort of hints on where you need to go next. Every quest that I've done in this game, I had to look up where to go. I will say the 2 most annoying things in the Millicent questline is traversing the Halleck tree. That place, I never want to go back there ever again. And killing that creature. If you've done this questline, you probably know what I'm talking about. This giant salami creature. It wasn't too bad though, and yes, I did kill this guy on the tree branch because I am not fighting this thing. The entire arena is covered in scarlet rot, there's virtually no space to dodge, and he has the worst attacks imaginable. But I'd wager that if I were to fight this thing, it wouldn't even be bad as the other one. But after almost 2 hours, we completed this questline and obtained the Rotten Wing Sword insignia. This thing would help massively with my physical attack. Trying to get this thing took so long! With the first step of our endgame preparations completed, I moved on to the next step, which was just leveling my stats. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my endurance was lacking. So again, not too much to show here. It was just ruin farming at the Mogwin Palace. Now, finally, after all of that preparation work, it was finally time for me and Calvin 2.0 to return to Malekith. The first phase begins with mainly just me walking around and Calvin 2.0 taking aggro. Okay. And for once, all our upgrading was worth it because we finally defeated Malekith. Holy shit. This boss was cool. 9 bosses down, 2 more to go. Upon defeating Malekith, this weird red and black mist appeared from his corpse. This is the Rune of Death. What does that mean? I don't know, nothing good. After that defeat, we teleported back to the capital, and if you recall what I said earlier, that the capital would play a massive role in the story, this is what I was talking about. The entire capital has been covered by the ash of the burning Erdtree. After admiring the scenery for a little bit, we made our way onto the next boss and one of the final bosses before we go on to the big 3. We walked up these stairs and made our way up this elevator and entered a very familiar arena. It was the same arena that I fought Spectral Godfrey earlier in the video. And at the center of this arena was our longtime friend Gideon, or so I thought. To be honest, I never really noticed him at the round table hold. Apparently he was there a lot, but I never really talked to the NPCs there. But it doesn't matter because we destroyed him in one attempt. Looking back, this is definitely one of the bosses I didn't need a Mimic tier for. I thought when I killed him at half, he would turn into like a big form because there's no way that one of the final bosses in this game is a stupid human being that just learned magic. Now, one more boss in the main story, and he's a boss that we've already seen. We made our way up the Ashen Arena, across this bridge, and we walked up the very same staircases that we walked to kill more gods. It was time for the final boss of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Godfrey, first Elden Lord, in his prime.
To be granted audience once more. Upon my name as Godfrey, the the first Elden Lord.
One of the coolest bosses in this game. No longer in a spectral form, Godfrey fights pretty much the same as a spectral form, except for a second phase. We'll get to that in a bit. He does have a few new attacks, but for the most part, he's basically the same boss, and because of that, it was pretty easy to dodge around his first phase attacks. His second phase is where shit gets real.
Thou didst me good service, Siraj. I've given thee courtesy enough. Now I fight as Horalu. Warrior!
He literally turns into a Street Fighter character because he has these weird seismic slam attacks. It looked so cool. Poor Calvin 2.0 got his shit fucking rocked. I did die to him on the first go. We did manage to persevere after that first death, and after struggling for quite a bit, finally killed the final boss of this playthrough. Wait, but the playthrough isn't done yet. I know. If you recall, all the way to the beginning of this video, the original bet to get my game of choice was to kill either the Elden Beast or kill Melania. And at this point, neither of them have been killed yet. We were running low on time, and both of these options were very difficult choices. Melania is one of the hardest bosses in the game, and the Elden Beast it's two bosses in one. And that is not something that I'm looking forward to. We basically just used the entire journey to upgrade our items and get as strong as possible just to lead to this moment. And now it's time to make our decision. Fuck off.
Run up there and smack him. There you go.
I summoned my jellyfish that I named Calvin to aid us in the fight.
Holy. That's not.
Thank you for guiding me here. Shall one day.
Remember the jellyfish that we named Calvin earlier? Well, he's finally out of commission. I'm finally introducing Calvin 2.0. I stand corrected.
To be granted audience once more. Now I fight just Horalu.
And after a while, I decided it was best just to fight the Elden Beast. Wait, don't worry. I will get to Melania a little bit later, as well as some other important stuff later on. We're on day 6 of 7, still plenty of time to kill the Elden Beast, but for someone like me who isn't very good at these games, as it is obvious by now, I didn't think it would be possible for me to do it in this amount of time. Before entering the Erdtree to conclude our journey, there were 2 last items that I had to grab before entering the final boss battle of Elden Ring, and you'll see what items we obtained when we enter the boss fight in a bit. So, after all of that, this is what our journey has been leading up to. We climbed our way up into the Erdtree, touched the Golden Mist, and attempted to conclude our journey to become Elden Lord of the Lands Between. Here we go. And we finally did it. We became Elden Lord and finally beat Elden Ring after a 6-day long journey, and obtained the normal default Elden Lord ending because I didn't do any of the major side quests to get different endings, and the bet was fulfilled. My friend would finally get the game of choice that I wanted. You'll find out in a bit what game I got. But there was still some important post-game stuff that we did after becoming Elden Lord. Some of the stuff will even tie into the second part of Elden Ring's story.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
I started off the state by going back to Limgrave and executing the tree sentinel that bullied me at the beginning of my playthrough, so he was finally dead. I also claimed my remembrance for the Elden Beast and obtained my sacred relic sword and leveled it all the way up to +9. I was not about to go searching for the +10 smithing stone. Basically, we used the sword to farm runes at the Mogren Palace more efficiently, as shown on screen here. Just look at all the runes we get per round. We explored the northwest side of the map a little bit and went into Volcano Manor, and found the God-slaying serpent, aka Praetor Rykard. He was a cool boss, and one of the freakiest cutscenes I've seen. He literally shoves his hand into his mouth and just pulls out a sword, and the weapon that we used was also a really cool weapon. I wanted the Serpent Slayer to be an actual weapon that you could use outside this boss arena, but unfortunately you can't, and we obtained the Blasphemous Blade, leveled up to +9. I'm not searching for the +10. Then, we finally returned to the Halleck Tree, and I know I said wouldn't come back here, but we returned to the Halleck Tree to confront Melania.
I dreamt for so long. My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Corpse after corpse left in my wake. I am Melania, Blade of Mikola. And I have never known defeat.
got defeated. It only took around 3 attempts. I'm not gonna say this was an easy boss, because Calvin 2.0 did carry me quite literally all the way, and for many of the other bosses. I did notice one thing against her, is that staggering her did the trick, so I guess I'll do that on my next run when I don't use a summon to help me kill her. The final thing that we did after beating the game was something that would tie into the next part of Elden Ring's story. We returned to Mogwin Palace, not to farm this time, but to confront another boss that we would need to kill in order to progress the story. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Mohg, Lord of Blood.
Welcome, honored guest, to the birthplace of our dynasty.
How the okay, what the... Bro, the boss fight was pretty okay for the most part. Mohg does have a pretty annoying bleed attack where he just hits you no matter what. I basically have to consume 3 of my flasks every time he uses this attack because it does so much damage. But after a few attempts... we finally killed him. And these are our final stats that we had by the end of the game, 163 levels. Though we did still have a few more side quests to take care of, and other like side bosses that we can kill, we were going to leave those for now. But there were even more things that we had to take care of, but those things were in a world far beyond the lands between. A world where everything gets dialed up to 11, where no bosses hold back. So, I returned to Mohg's arena, reached out to the Withered Arm, and entered the Realm of Shadow. Thank you for watching, and to everyone who made it to the end of this video. This took an extremely long time to create, and as of writing this part of the script, I am on page 25. If you did make it to the end of this video, I can't say how thankful I am for you. I love creating these long form videos of just playing games in their entirety. Whether or not you agree with the way I played through this game, it doesn't really matter. We're all just here to gather in our interests and appreciate the games that we play. I'd also like to thank my friends who just joined me on my journey in certain parts, whether it's screaming at me because I'm getting too greedy on a boss, or peer pressuring me to open a chest. It was such a fun time all the way through. I am 95% sure I will do a playthrough of the Shadow of the Erdtree. Hopefully I actually remember to record everything this time so there's not gaps in my footage. As for other games made by From Software, I might do playthroughs of some of their other titles. We'll start with Dark Souls 1 and then play Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 2 might be off the table for now. And of course Sekiro and Bloodborne playthroughs will also be coming soon, hopefully. As for future full playthrough videos, I do have another full-length playthrough that I am cooking up with my friends. It's kind of similar to Elden Ring, but also isn't. It's not really similar. The only similarities is that it has a lot of bosses. It's essentially a full playthrough of the Calamity mod from Terraria, but on crack. We're basically going to be adding a bunch of these other cool fan-made mods of gods that exist in the lore of Calamity, which have the craziest boss fights I've seen. And you're probably wondering about the game that I received for my prize of completing Elden Ring within the 7-week time span. I got Space Marine 2. I might make a video on Space Marine 2, maybe not like a full-length playthrough of its campaign because it's been like 2 weeks since I beat Elden Ring, and as of writing this, I've already beaten the first 3 episodes of the campaign. I'm loving it so far, but maybe I'll post like a funny montage video like some of my Helldivers 2 videos. This video was very different from my normal bite-sized videos of just stupid Helldivers 2 moments, so I hope you enjoyed it. I don't want to stick to just one video game for the rest of my channel's existence, because I like playing different things. I can't just keep sticking to the same game and milking it for content. I would literally rather do anything else. But anyways, that's the end of this video. Thank you again to everyone who watched. I really appreciate you, even if you just tuned in for a bit. Shadow of the Erdtree playthrough will be coming in a few months, hopefully.